I told my husband as we were coming down the Glen Highway, if Alaska and these mountains are really as beautiful as I'm saying, when you're done, you can go back to Michigan, but I'm never leaving Alaska, and I meant it. And he knew I meant it. Back then, females were either pretty much teachers or nurses. There wasn't all this, these wonderful engineering fields, technology fields. I just, and so I said to him, maybe I can start working for a degree. So I did enroll at the UAA in the teaching program, and in 1975 was able to get my degree. We had 2 children by then, and one on the way out here, and so he came home and said he found a homestead, and this homestead is a couple hundred acres, and it was one of the original homesteads, and it was $300 an acre then. And when we went in to both sign the papers for this loan, the banker said, I didn't think anybody in their right mind would pay $300 an acre for property way out there in the boonies. So to make a long story short, we have raised 5 children here. We're a big dental family. My grandson did, so there's 6 dentists in my family now. And we've had this wonderful, wonderful career. I've been a small business person which is still in existence, Wasilla Dental Center and Palmer Dental Center. We started both those clinics. I think of my mom and dad. I had just phenomenal parents. My mom sang with the band, so that's where I told you I love so much music. I play the piano, and she had a phenomenal soprano voice. My daughter inherited it, I did not. But Mom was very set on her routines and how she raised my brother and I. Daddy taught. He went to Wayne University and did a 4-year degree in 2 years. Very, very bright man. And he had a 1-room schoolhouse he taught, and he came down with TB. In those days, they put him in a sanitarium, and when he got out, he never was allowed to go back to teaching. So he went into law enforcement, and he just kept getting promoted, and finally he had the officers, all these officers under him in Upper Michigan. And my mom put her foot down and said, we are not moving again, Bob, until David and Linda graduate from high school. And she meant it. And so, like I said, he just was something else. My husband had a dental office in Lake Otis because there was no dentist in Wasilla. So he was trying to see if Wasilla could handle, there's like maybe 3,000 people. So we opened up in our garage here just to see if patients would enjoy not having to go to Anchorage for their dental work. I wanted my children to do well in school and go on, and they've all graduated from universities, and I'm very proud of them. They're good human beings. My personal achievements, I've been very involved with, I owned at one time the Mrs. Alaska pageant, which is for the United States, and then you get, but then I judged many girls, probably close to 100 girls here, and always been involved. I started the Miss Wasilla pageant, and then we had one in Big Lake, and because I was lucky enough to be a queen in the Upper Peninsula, and then I kept having boys, so I didn't have anybody really to dress up, but I certainly enjoyed all that. And in fact, Sarah Palin writes about me in her book how I talked her into getting into a pageant because she was needing some college money, and I said, I know you'll get, you'll place high, and there'll be scholarship money. I would say I have the ability to connect well with others, and so I just have had these offers, like people wanted me to run for the school board. I did that for 12 years, always in leadership positions, president, and I also went over to the Federal Job Corps in Palmer and subbed there for 10 years. in the meantime, still being on the school board and doing as many nonprofits. I started the first Chamber of Commerce with a couple of my buddies and friends. We had a wonderful legislator. He was in the Senate for 32 years, Jay Kurtula. He did a very good job of doing Palmer Hospital. We were going to be a hospital for profit, and it kind of was very polarizing in the community because we had to make a promise that at least 25% of this for-profit hospital would go towards nonprofit. So as the years went, and that did come to fruition, and as the years went on, as first chair, when I left Mat-Su Health Foundation, we were just doing great. We had like 17 million, and now I'm hearing it's way over $1 billion, and that all goes back into the community. So what a success story, Mat-Su Health Foundation. And I hired the current gal. Her name's Elizabeth Ripley. She's just she's just wonderful in every area of her personality and her being. So that has been one really successful story, and of course our growth here again in the Valley has helped it to be successful. So every month they have made money at that hospital, and so we get our 25%. So it's just amazing the scholarships we've been able to put out, and the wonderful good charity we have been able to be part of in this community. I got into a running club. We had there's probably 20 or 30 of us here, and so I've run 3 marathons. So one in Florida, the Orange Bowl, and one in Seattle. So I lived that for about 30 years, where running was really a #1 priority for me. I had a husband that we partnered up on things. I mean, he would never be a husband that says, no, you stay home now, and you know, because he was of that generation. You come home and you expect a meal on the table. When we were doing dental clinics and going out to conferences, I didn't know if I was Democrat or Republican. I really didn't, because I was just a person trying to live a good life, raise my kids, and politics meant zippo to me, absolutely zippo to me. Well, when you're going to jump in that arena, you pretty much have to pick a party. I really liked the idea of the libertarians, you know, because it gave you kind of wiggle room. There isn't one person, one friend that ever heard me say, oh, someday I want to be a senator down in Juneau, like my husband did, because that was never a goal. But there was a situation at that time where I had a real good friend who called and was on the school board with me. He says, you know, you have to run in Juneau. You're the only one that can beat this person that they wanted me to beat. I didn't have a friend that was not Republican or not Democrat. I mean, again, I have been told that I had that ability to reach and touch people in a small community. I often think I relate it sometimes to some of the villages. They know everybody. They have such a... I love the Native people. I tried really hard to get the second verse of the Alaska Flag Song through. And I think they're so unique. I mean, we live in Alaska. There's these wonderful Native peoples that started here. We need to embrace them and remember their history, their ability to still survive in that kind of environment. We had a concert band here in Wasilla, and I got 6 gals who had never marched before at all as the color guard, and then I had, you know, my baton and I've been in lots and lots of parades, just tons of parades here, and I don't shy from that. I love it. I love it, and I'll give maybe pins that we've done down in Juneau and say, here, you look like a good American, or, you know, I'm just full of it.